Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Okay guys, we're going to be seeing a video today. This is titled Why I Left Australia and Moved to Russia. All right, I am really curious to see this video. If you're so excited as much as I am, please subscribe, and if you find this video interesting, like, share, and comment on it. All right, so let's jump in.
Hi, I've tried to record this video already 3 times, and every time there's just something that I'm not happy with, but I'm just going to give it one last shot and just go with it. So, hi, my name is Natasha. I'm an Australian who moved to Russia in December 2024, about 6 months ago, and one of the questions that I'm asked most is why? Let's get straight into it. My love for Russia and the journey that eventually led me here to Moscow actually began back in 2020. And it was on one random morning that I woke up and decided that I needed a new hobby. As a kid, I was always fascinated by foreign languages, and I actually loved Chinese. And that curiosity never went away. I always loved foreign languages, even through my adolescence, and it followed me into my adulthood. And so on that morning, I thought, you know what? Why don't I just learn the Cyrillic alphabet? It was honestly more or less a random thought. I knew I needed a new hobby. Looking back now, I realized that it wasn't just a hobby. It was the beginning of something much bigger than that, a personal and educational journey that completely shifted the trajectory of my life. And we can go deeper into why I chose Russian specifically in another video, because that's another question that I'm frequently asked. Why, as an English speaker, why Russian? They always ask me, why Russian? It's weird because people don't ask that if you tell them. I'm learning Italian. They don't say, why Italian? It's just, I always found that to be a weird question. But for now, anyway, the point is I started learning Russian. And as part of my studies, I had a language exchange partner, or several actually, but one in particular, we had, I'd say, quite a close bond, and we often spoke and we exchanged photos as well as conversation and so on. And I remember distinctly one photograph that he sent me, and it was his village in winter, the houses blanketed in snow, chimney smoke curling into the
Quite
sky. And
beautiful.
it sounds a little poetic, but it was just beautiful. And I remember just gazing at this photo and dreaming of being there. Me, a city girl from Sydney, dreaming to be in this little Russian village. So that's where my love for Russia began. It began with the language, and it is one of the core and fundamental reasons that I decided to move here, to take my Russian to the next level and to fully immerse myself in the culture and the language. And that commitment to language learning and cultural immersion has really opened up so many doors and opportunities for me, both personally and professionally. It's something I'm really glad that I did. And now that I've gone through the process of learning a foreign language, I really encourage other people to do the same. For example, my partner Patrick, he's learning to speak Russian as well now. My sister is learning to speak Spanish, so I think it's a wonderful thing. That's the first reason. And so after years of studying, I finally had the chance to visit Russia, specifically St. Petersburg and Moscow, in the year of 2023. Я в России! And honestly, I regard it as one of the best holidays of my life. And I probably say that about every holiday I go on because they're always so fun. But this one was different because this one shifted my opinion of so many things. I remember returning to Sydney, and as always, you suffer with the post-holiday blues. You get back from an adventure abroad and you're depressed to be home. And that's kind of the natural way, or something that I'm used to anyway. That's my natural reaction to returning from a holiday. I go through a little bit of depression. But this, for the first time after that trip, I remember returning to Sydney and thinking, Oh my God, I live in a village. Sydney is just a big country town. For the first time ever, Sydney felt small. And it's crazy to say that because Sydney's not small, but up against the grand scale of Moscow and St. Petersburg, it is small. You know, and I'm referring more so to, well, just the sheer size of Moscow for one, but also the size.
This is really a beautiful video and it has really opened my eyes. All right. This is just like few minutes into this video. I love the fact that she want to be in Russia or she wants to go to Russia for a very good reason. First, she loved the language. All right. It's not like other people trying to escape from their country, try to escape from poverty or something. All right. She wants to go to Russia for some good reasons. Like it's really, these are really good reasons going to a country and not because you're running away from pressure from your country or whatever. All right. And it also opened my eyes. All right. She thought Sydney was a great big city. I'm not saying Sydney is not a big city or a beautiful city, but comparing it to when she got to Russia, she actually saw that, oh, this place that she was staying or this place that she is actually quite a small town compared to when she got to St. Petersburg and Moscow. All right. Russia is actually big. And sometimes we stay in a place and we feel, okay, this is just all about life. This is just everything. You feel you have everything because you've actually not gone out of your comfort zone to other places to see what other places looks like. All right. But she left Sydney and went to Russia and saw that, oh, this place, Sydney, where I stay, is actually a small town compared to what she saw in Russia, right? This is like life is actually an adventure. And if you decide to like stay one place, you'll just be locked up in just what is around you. All right. But it's also good to like go out there and see what other people's culture are, see what other places looks like and compare to where you are staying. All right. So this trip and this vacation actually opened her eyes to see that there's more outside. All right. There's more outside compared to the Sydney that she was living in. So this is quite incredible.
Of the buildings here, they are enormous. It's just so grand. This point in my life actually reminds me of a quote, and it goes like this: um, "He who has." Sorry, hang on. I'm going to stuff this up. It's a quote I like as well. He who has not traveled thinks his mother is the best cook, and that was me.
That's my point
I have
exactly.
always regarded it as this world-class international city, and don't get me wrong, I love Sydney. I grew up there. I've spent every summer of my life on the sand of Bondi Beach, and it's where I met Patrick, my partner. And I never ever got tired of seeing the ocean, and I feel so lucky that I enjoyed a long lifetime living in a coastal city that afforded me the luxury of beautiful summers. But as crazy as it sounds, I didn't want for that to be my whole story. I didn't want my story to be that I was born in Sydney, lived in Sydney, worked there, went on a couple of holidays, and then died in
You raised a
Sydney.
family
It's a
there, your
pretty
whole
grim
life in
thought,
Sydney.
but that thought often crossed my mind, especially toward my early 30s. And I always admired people who took bold moves, and I especially envied those who took risks and lived abroad. And I don't think it's worth envying someone who does something that you too can do. So I always had in the back of my mind that in my life I'd love to experience living abroad. And we toyed with the idea of certain countries. But after that trip in 2023, I realized that what I thought was important, which was living near the water, I realized that perhaps I didn't need the ocean as much as I initially thought. I want to say this: even though I loved Russia, I never ever considered the option of living here, because it's nowhere near the ocean. Like, how could I live anywhere that's not half an hour from the beach? It's just not possible. But suddenly I considered the thought that, maybe I am ready for a new backdrop. And Russia became the perfect place for that change. And I know there are so many of you that are interested in moving to Russia because I'm frequently asked about what it takes to move here. There actually is a simple way that you can move here, and that is with movetorussia.com. Movetorussia.com is a company that I'm really thrilled to share with you because not only do they align with my own story and my journey, but they specifically help people from the West in relocating to Russia. Now, they don't just assist you with obtaining your residence permit. They actually provide full support from start to finish. You'll have your own personal expert to handle everything. They'll give you advice on your travel and managing all of your case and your paperwork. They'll help you find housing. They'll set up your finances, which we know is really important, getting your money here. And they'll also provide ongoing local support, which again, I think is crucial, especially if you don't yet know the language. And if you plan on operating your own business here, then they'll even assist you in setting up a company here in Russia. They have an entire team that is dedicated to making sure that your transition here goes smoothly. And I think that's really important because it leaves time for you to focus on the most exciting part, which is settling into your new home, meeting new people, and creating a new life here. Don't put off what you've wanted to do for so long. It's not so scary here. It's beautiful. Come and see. Click on the link in the description to connect with a specialist for a free consultation and start your journey today. And I want to say thank you, movetorussia.com, for sponsoring this part of the video. So now we have reached the third reason that sparked my desire to move to Russia. And it was something that I noticed during my time here in 2023. I was also in Lebanon and Turkey on that trip. So it wasn't solely in Russia that I felt this, but it was on that trip that I suddenly felt so close to the rest of the world. It was like when I was awake, the world was awake. If you've never lived on an island, then it might be a little hard to understand, but in Australia, everything is really far away. A 9-hour flight is considered short. So if you want to visit Europe, it's 21, maybe 26 hours. You can even be 30 hours. Can you imagine sitting in a small enclosed space for that long? To me, it's a nightmare. And so because of that, most of our holidays abroad were to Southeast Asia because it was close and very affordable as well. But now I can be in Turkey in as little as 4.5 hours. And this geographical shift opens up so many business opportunities and travel opportunities too. And for someone like me who loves exploring new cultures, it's really a dream. Unfortunately, I haven't had the chance to venture abroad as of yet, but I really can't wait to take advantage of my current location being so close to the rest of the world and visiting other countries. So that's another reason. I was really lucky to enjoy a career that eventually allowed me to scale back to just 3 days a week. This is what brings me to my fourth reason. Now, I want to say that it wasn't always like that. I used to work longer hours and a normal work schedule like everyone else. But in the later years of my career, I enjoyed a lot of freedom. I often say, I was semi-retired because I was. And my sister had the exact same schedule as me. And because of that, we spent a lot of our free time together. But with all of that freedom came something rather unexpected, and that was boredom. And it was almost like I was going through a little bit of a midlife crisis because I think most people, they have kids as a distraction, and that's kind of what occupies most of their time, where I didn't have kids to occupy. And so I started to ask myself some big questions like, is this it? Is this life? This is boring. I'm bored. And I kept myself busy. I like to think that I had a successful career. And outside from work, I maintained my hobbies. I enjoyed doing the things that I loved. I spent time with family. I trained every day. And I ran a household. And I did that, I think so. I think I did that really well, if I can say that without being boastful. But despite keeping busy, I started asking myself, is this it? And I really didn't want to reach old age with regret and look back and say, why didn't I ever do something wild? Why didn't I try living abroad, since it was something I'd always dreamed of doing? And since I already loved Russia after being there in 23, I spoke the language somewhat, it just made sense to move here. It wasn't just a move for fun, it was a conscious decision to challenge myself, to grow and to experience life differently. What more can I say? And moving on to the final reason, and it's a little bit more specific. It's not only why did I move to Russia, but I'm asked, why did I come here in winter? Like, why did you move to Russia in the middle of winter? It's crazy, but the answer is simple and I think obvious. It was to see snow, okay? And I'll elaborate on that a little more for you. But if you're Russian or you're someone that lives in a colder climate, if you were to ask yourself, would you choose to travel to a colder climate just to freeze? The answer is probably not, right? You'd want to experience heat and warmth. You'd want to see beaches and experience something different. And that was the same for us, right? We wanted to experience minus 30 degrees.
Bullshit!
Degrees. We grew up and spent every summer of our lives on the beach of Bondi, where Patrick and I met. So for us, coming from a warmer climate, I don't think it's such a crazy concept. Even my father dreams of experiencing minus 30 degrees. And honestly, I can tell you that winter here has been the pinnacle. It's been the best part of this entire experience thus far. If I flew back to Australia tomorrow, then my favorite memories would all come from that first winter here. It brought me such a joy. When I watch back on my YouTube videos and my time here, I just think, God, that was so magical. It's something that I will treasure forever. And I'm really glad that the videos are here on YouTube, because I will look back on them forever. That's why I came in winter, to see snow and to experience minus 30 degrees and to jump into freezing water. And I can't wait to do it again. It's summer here now and I'm hating it, if I'm honest. Like I want to be in my pukhavik again. I want to, my, what's that called? I don't know what it's called. A down jacket, my down jacket. Yeah, that's a glimpse into why I left Australia and moved to Russia. It wasn't a spontaneous decision at all, nor should it be. A decision like this is something that requires careful planning and careful attention too. It wasn't spontaneous at all. It was something that grew inside me slowly over time. It was something that was carefully planned and thought out and organized, as I said. What started from a fascination with language to a love of culture, and finally to a desire for more out of life. That's what led me here. I didn't leave Australia because I hated it. I left because I wanted more experience from life, and I wanted more stories and life-changing experiences and moments. And believe it or not, I wanted a challenge. Life here isn't always easy, and equally it wasn't always easy in Australia, right? There's pros and cons to everything. For the first time in a long time, I feel like we're doing something that truly matters, and it's something that I'm personally proud of. Maybe it's part of our own spiritual journey or our own personal growth. I think it's both, but in any case, we're thrilled to be here. Thank you for listening to my story, and I hope that provides you with a little bit more clarity on why I came here and why I'm staying. So if you're thinking about moving abroad or learning a new language or taking a new risk, then write to me below, because I'd love to help you if I can with my own insight and my own experience. If you're interested, you can follow me on Instagram, the link's in the description. And don't forget, if you want to move to Russia, you can with movetorussia.com. The link again is in the description for you. Thank you so much for your donations as well. You have no idea how much your donations help me, and your comments are lovely. I really appreciate the community that's here on this channel. Even my family read your comments and they can't believe how incredibly kind you all are. So thank you for being supportive on this channel and kind. It's been nothing but pleasant entertaining you all, if I can say that. Thank you so much. До следующего раза. Пока. Bye.
Okay, this is quite an incredible video, and I think I should start thinking about relocating to maybe Russia or some other country, because it's actually starts with taking a risk. Like you can't just talk about it. You have to make a move. All right. I know I really want to like go live abroad, but I don't know how or when to start that plan. All right, but I know someday I'm going to be direct, face my fears, and take all the risks. All right, so this is indeed an incredible video, and she kind of have amazing reasons why she moved from Australia to Russia. All right, so this is really interesting. All right, so if you are planning on relocating to a country and you like looking for that push, that motivation, I think this video can also serve as a motivation for you to like take that step, take that risk, all right, and go for it. Okay. Thank you for watching and see you guys on my next one. Bye.